after Vanessa and I lost our friend, my marriage ended like 3 months later, and there was a way that that loss sort of prepared me for the loss of my marriage because it was a little bit like my heart was just open in a different way, and I kind of wanted to be more intentional about the way that I continued to love, and I feel
Mhm.
like my friends sort of prepared me for, like, nothing is really lost, you're okay, and how do you wanna love given that,
Yeah.
this time is so fleeting?
I'm John Kim, a licensed therapist who used to be a miserable fuck before going on a hero's journey and turning expired relationships into revelations. I use my story to help others come with you instead of at you, unrehearsed on purpose, because self-help doesn't have to be polished or complicated, just honest. Amy Chen is with us today. She's Chinese American.
No, I'm
That's it.
Chinese Canadian.
No, that's what? Wait, hold on. What's wrong? Amy, are you not
Take two.
Chinese?
I'm
Wait.
Chinese Canadian.
Oh, you're Chinese. Oh, that's
Canadian.
right. Oh, okay. I forgot you're Chinese Canadian.
You just gave me so
Well,
Oh,
and that-
shit.
Oh my God.
That's so important these days. American
Yes,
versus
it is important.
No, I'm not.
Amy,
Girl,
I've
that's
never
what's
known a
up.
Chinese Canadian. Those words have never come out of my mouth, like a Chinese Canadian.
Today. I'm with you. Yeah.
Well,
'cause
there's
it's
a
always
first for
something
everything,
American.
John. Yeah.
Well,
Wow,
not
not
everything's
everything's
got
about America,
schooled.
John.
I know. Well, I grew up in America. It's all I know. Uh, Amy is Chinese Canadian. I was gonna have a joke where that's all I was gonna say about you, and I was gonna move on to the next person. But here's the thing. So here's what's amazing about Amy. She has both left and right brain as far as the stuff that she does because she takes dense concepts and brings it to street level, and that's where Amy and I kind of overlap. She has this thing called Breakup Boot Camp, which is not only a book, but an actual live event where she helps, I would say, man, I mean, if you include the internet, thousands of people going through breakups, and she talks about the science of the breakup. She also has a new book, which I'm not going to talk about because it's early, but it has the word single on it. And you know what? I have a book with the word single on it, but you, Amy, I'm not competing with you. I'm embracing you. I'm championing you. I love that your book also has the word single on it.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Great
Amy
intro.
Chan. Okay.
Hi, Amy.
Vanessa, introduce Daniel.
Oh,
Stewart.
Daniel.
Oh, Vanessa.
Daniel Stewart is a friend of mine and a colleague. He is also a Pacifica grad, and he owns an amazing yoga studio in Sherman Oaks that I stumbled upon when I moved there many years ago. And we became close friends because of our love of depth and yogic psychology. And he does all of the things. He is a writer and an artist and a musician and a lovely soul. And he also teaches in my academy. And I don't know, what else do you do, Daniel? You're like us. You spin 25 plates.
I'm a psychotherapist.
I mean, yeah, I guess I should have said that. You went Pacifica. I guess I just assumed.
The thing about Daniel
I'm a
for me is
I'm a seeker.
You're a
seeker.
seeker.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Daniel reminds me of the dude, the big Lebowski.
His voice
He
reminds
sounds
me
like
of
Jeff
the dude.
Daniels. His voice just sounds like Jeff Daniels, which I love. And
Jeff
you're
Bridges.
just so laid back, but also, Jeff Bridges. Who did I say?
Jeff
Jeff
Daniels.
Daniels.
Because it's easy to make that mistake. Daniel
Mhm.
Stewart.
That exactly. That's
the dude.
But you know, not Jeff, Daniel. You remind me of an oak tree.
Thank you, brother. I think
Tree rings, wisdom, grounded. You know.
Well, it's true. I have been here for a while, and I've been working all that time trying to understand myself and the deep language underneath the surface for all of us. So yeah, I hope I have a few rings.
You have a lot of rings. You also have an amazing story, Amy. Daniel was shot.
Ooh,
Bullet through his chest. Shot.
it's true.
My word.
And that bullet was recently pulled out.
True.
True.
Gosh, I wish I had it with me. I'd be showing you.
Yeah. So just
Wow.
amazing
Thank you
story.
for that introduction, both you guys. Yeah.
Mm.
Amy, introduce Vanessa.
Vanessa is a psychotherapist. She has a private practice. She also leads groups and she's a speaker. And she just came out with an incredible book called The Motherhood Myth. And on top of all of her credentials, she's also kind, warm, no BS, and she's a New Yorker at heart, but she's got that Bali Hawaiian soul.
Oh,
And she's just super fun. And I think that my first and only time meeting you in person was at a dinner party. And I just think that you and John, your energies really complement each other, even though sometimes I'm sure you guys are like annoyed with how different you are. But it was just so delightful to be in the presence of both of you and what I perceive as a very healthy relationship.
Oh, thank you,
wow, thank you.
Amy.
Good soul.
Maybe
Terry.
Why can't I
Hey.
fucking get it together?
Terry.
Anyway,
Hello,
Um,
hello, Terry.
Jesus
Welcome.
Christ.
I
Anyway,
love
hi,
Terry comes
people.
on New York, all New York.
just I would have been cuter because I thought it was at 7, but anyway, this is as cute as I'm getting.
you look
you
very
not
cute
be
today.
cuter.
Look you to me.
Yes.
Why, thank you.
Terry, thank you for joining us. We're doing something interesting. We're introducing each other. And so
Don't make me.
Vanessa, now introduce Dene.
Okay. Dene Logan, also a Pacifica grad. She does all the things as well. She is an author of a beautiful book called Sovereign Love. She is another seeker and soul sister. And I love that she calls herself a spiritual doula. It's like my favorite thing. She
Do I call it?
is that's what you said on your
Oh.
website. You call yourself that on your website. She's a coach and a therapist and a podcaster and a writer, and she is also my best friend.
Dene, since you had Terri Cole's personal number, you're gonna introduce Terri Cole.
Could I be any cooler? I'm so honored to get to introduce Terri Cole, who to me is like the OG, the original having conversations about expanding the way that we talk about codependency and getting on the real with what has been a little bit distorted in the way that we've been meeting one another relationally. And I gotta tell you guys, I don't fangirl out a ton, but I was at Blue Spirit Costa Rica earlier this year and was with a colleague, Dr. Alexander Solomon, and she pulled me over to the table, was like, "Dene, do you know Terry?" And I was like, "It's Terri Cole, y'all." Like, I feel like so much of what I have formulated thoughts around how we meet one another relationally was inspired by this unbelievably wise human. So, such a gift to know her and now be able to text with Terry. I feel
Wow.
like it definitely, I was like, "Yeah, I've made it. I have Terri Cole in my,
Terry, you didn't give me your number. Yeah. Hey, wait, was that the first time you met Terry in person? It was Blue Spirit?
That was and she's
Oh, wow.
just so, like, warm and, like,
Yeah.
the most I don't know, she's incredible.
Speaking of OG, Terry, how far do you go back? Would you say 2010?
In the online space?
Yes, as a what you're doing, therapist,
Oh,
coach.
no, dude, way back. I'm so much older than you think. Yeah. So I left entertainment and got my license in 97.
Wow. And when did you start writing books and doing everything you're doing now?
I would say 2015 is when I started. Probably had my
Yeah.
first non-shitty website in maybe 2011. Like, I didn't understand how you do it. So, like, in 2010, maybe I had one, and I wrote a blog once every 3 months, and I was like, "Why is there no people?" And people are like, "You need new content, lady, like, every week." I was like, "Oh my god." But I'd say 2011, maybe I got a real website, and then by 2015 is when I started my podcast and when I started my YouTube channel. So that's been 10 years.
Yeah. I feel like you are a colleague of mine. I feel like we kind of went to high school together because I feel like we're both OG. I started 2010 and I've seen you peripherally and then now I know you as a friend. So
Yay.
that's like life work shit. The length that you've been doing it. So So that's awesome.
Yeah, we're actually right now celebrating the 10 years of the Terri Cole show, and it's really so bizarre. Like, my experience of it is so weird because I rarely look back. Like, my whole shit is, like, looking down, going forward, looking down,
Right,
next, next,
right.
next. I enjoy my life, but you know what I'm saying? So all of this retrospective looking where you're like, wow, that's a lot of 750 episodes. That's a lot of episodes.
Wow,
8
that's
million
crazy.
downloads. That's a lot of like, wow.
Wait,
Wow.
750 episodes, but those are all guests or those are by
No,
yourself?
no, no. No, I'd say 350 probably guests,
Mm,
and the rest just me yakking.
Think of
wow,
that
that's crazy.
impact.
Um,
Wow.
not to be competitive, but I'm at almost 1,000. But anyway, let's talk about the. We're, I just have more time on my hands, Terry. You actually have clients, guys. What's
I
amazing
think I
about
should
this episode?
introduce. I think I should introduce you.
Yeah,
Oh, you should probably
Dan Rowe.
because I have
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
Okay, I love it.
I don't really know you, so I can just project.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
I
So
could just
I'll be quick
project.
because I know you
All
well.
right.
So John is very competitive, and
We noticed.
I know him first as the partner of a dear friend of mine. So that's how you snuck into my life, right? Knowing what you were about through Vanessa, obviously. And then my projections on you are, well, you had the courage to cut your hair off when it was long, which I've never done. You are intuitive and you are in the moment, and your expression is usually something that's coming in the moment, which is very, very charming and not usual. People are usually much more careful. Not that you're not presenting well, but I watch your expression and what you're bringing, and it usually is coming from a deep place. So I know you're authentic and bringing that authenticity.
Wait,
And
hold on. Vanessa, what the fuck are you laughing at? Why are you laughing at that shit?
I'm laughing
he's
at Vanessa.
laughing
I'm
at
taking
how
I'm taking this
Weird.
sincerely, and I see her
Beautiful.
laughing in the
he's
corner.
laughing at how right I am.
All
It's
right, go ahead.
beautiful.
Sorry,
Also, there's a
Daniel.
delay, so you don't actually know what part of what he's saying I'm laughing at.
Yes,
Yeah.
you've got the
It's the being present part. It's the being present part. She's laughing at that shit.
And
Anyway, so
I know
sorry.
you're a writer and you take that
Mhm.
seriously. And you, of all people who I don't even really know yet, but I've met a couple times, Costa Rica. We had that great moment where, oh, you're in Costa Rica too? I'm here doing a retreat. Oh, let's have lunch. You keep poking me to write my book.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep poking you.
He's a
It means
poker.
a lot. There's something about that, the way you're
So to
holding
speak.
space and just being like, hey, step to your next level. So I assume that's the way you support your clients and show up in the world. So that's what I got for now.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. Thank you for
you're
the kind words.
handsome as hell. Yeah.
Oh, stop.
Okay.
Stop. We have questions. We have lots of questions. But listener, listen. This is like a Snickers bar. It's packed with nuts and you're gonna get so much from this episode because we have the full box of crayons. Not only 6 different coaches, therapists, catalysts, but also we all kind of come in through a different angle, whether it's depth psychology or street level or whatever. So to have 6 different opinions, because we may not agree, is what's kind of interesting about this, right? But before we go here, I want to not miss the beat. When we first started, Amy and I were talking, and Amy recently lost a friend, a dear friend, and it was like recent, like a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago,
Like a month ago.
a close friend, and he died flying a plane.
Flying a fighter jet.
Oh, is that okay?
I have to put fighter jet in there because his personality, if I just made him sound like he died in a plane,
Oh,
he would
that's
be
sweet.
angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very young too, right?
Mhm.
40s.
Yeah, 40s. Yeah.
And when she was telling me this, and of course she's going through, the grieving and everything, Dene, I thought about you and you losing a friend who was so dear to you.
Yeah, to Vanessa and I.
Yeah.
One of our grad school friends that Vanessa and I went to grad school with, I think losing him certainly has shaped so much of the way that I have moved through life and the world since. It was just such a visceral impact of none of this is promised, and all of the time that we have with one another is so unbelievably sacred. So how do you want to live?
Yeah, I mean,
It's interesting with the death and dying, this theme. One of my best friends died in January of this year, and it was my first. I've had other tragic deaths, but this was different. And then I had a very similar response. And I just did a blog about this, episode of the pod, talking about how deep love requires something of us. Like it requires us. And I'm not talking about the sacrifice and all that stuff, which, in relationships we do, but it requires us to feel what, Amy, you felt when your friend passed, what Vanessa and Dene, you felt, like what I felt, the excruciating pain of the loss of people we really love. And when you're healthy enough to really love, like we're really loving people for who they are, hopefully, it's fucking brutal. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And what's interesting is, so I lost a dad, but I have this feeling that, and Amy was just telling me this, it would be harder for me to lose a friend,
Mhm.
you
Well,
know?
partly because they're your colleague and they're close to you and you
Yeah.
expect her as your parents, right? And
Exactly.
I love what you just said about love requires us. If you're going to open your heart, period, and love anyone, there's going to be pain somewhere,
Mm.
and loss will be a part of it at some point, right? And even farther than that, in the language of humanity, right? Grief, one of the strong emotional cores that every male feels, is the way we know something was so important. We
Mm.
don't grieve something that didn't matter. Like, oh yeah, I lost my blue jeans. Okay, fine, get another. I lost
Right.
my heart, my person in my heart. Then we grieve because we know how deeply that person lived in us, right? Something
Mm,
like.
yeah.
It's interesting what you were saying, John, about losing your dad and how losing a friend might be different. And after Vanessa and I lost our friend, my marriage ended like 3 months later. And there was a way that that loss sort of prepared me for the loss of my marriage because it was a little bit like my heart was just open in a different way, and I kind of wanted to be more intentional about the way that I continued to love, and I feel
Mm,
like my friends sort of prepared me for, like, nothing is really lost, you're okay, and how do you wanna love given that,
Yeah.
this time is so fleeting?
So when you said that, what it reminded me of, and because I think it works this way too, not just with people, but when we lost our house,
Mhm.
mm,
it prepared me for being open to Costa Rica, which I would have never been open to. And now that I'm here, one of my big revelations is there's no packaging here. And I think that's why it's so easy or so much easier here to put perfect days together more so than in Los Angeles. Like, for example, um, today I just jumped into the ocean doing this, and then we were going across the street to this cafe because we're having pizza. Right now in Los Angeles, that means nothing.
Yeah,
Right in Costa Rica, it's a big deal, and because it's just the simple things, it's
mhm.
just finding joy in skinny dipping or standing on a surfboard or having a mango, which is very different from me because in the city, I used to just chase and build. So, if the house didn't burn down, I
mm.
would have not had the runway to actually see the value
I
in
think
the
what you're
simple things.
saying, John, too, about that, it's like without and I'm glad that you brought the house into it because I think people who are listening, it isn't just the death of a person, right? It can be tragedy or loss in other big ways. And I think what you're right, what you're saying is still on point because it's like loss like that opens us up to being able to receive and being able to enjoy life in a way that we actually might have been missing or sleepwalking a little bit through beforehand, right? And it also, I have found one of the biggest things for me is it's actually allowed me to let go of so many
Mm,
things and people and expectations and other things that I might have been holding on to that coming out of that grief, you have this, like you said, Danae, where you're like, none of this is promised. It just makes you realize how fleeting life is. That it became a real, like to use your term, John, like a black light, where you're like, oh, I actually don't really care about that, or I actually just don't have time for that anymore. And it just became so simple to let it or a person or whatever go. That felt like it would have been so hard to let go of before. It just suddenly became so easy.
I was just gonna say I love how Vanessa always gives people credit for their things because I
mhm.
still shit
Mhm.
all the time. I don't give them credit. Vanessa does, which is
That's a
really
big
I
sweet.
hate
that's a
to be
big thing
like
for
that
me.
super male and female, but it kind of is. Um,
Damn. Okay. Hey, Daniel, you ready, Daniel? Roll up your sleeves. We're going. This is going to be a gender
I love
war.
you, Terry.
She just fucking poked us.
let's just
Oh,
go.
gee,
What
we
I
love
was
that.
gonna say, not to interrupt, is that it's similar. to, I was diagnosed with cancer in my early 30s, and it was like this experience where you think, well, that doesn't happen to me, right? This doesn't happen to young people. You never even think about it. Like, but then you do, just like with the death of a marriage or the death of a person or the loss of a home. You don't think about it until you do, and then you think about all the things. So for
Hmm.
me, facing my mortality at that young age and being like exactly what Dene said before resonated so hard. Like, oh my God, like none of this shit is guaranteed. Like I just thought I had all the days. I had all the days left, all the many, many days. And this was a wake up that was like, your days are finite, lady. Like, are you living a life you can be proud of, that you feel good about? Are you a person you're proud? Like, what are you doing in your life? And it changed everything. I had been a talent agent representing supermodels and celebrities. Like, I had a whole other career. And this wake up was like, do I want to make Naomi Campbell richer? Probably not. Like, isn't there something better I could do with my life? And then I became a psychotherapist.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, John, you were kind enough to bring up the shooting that occurred in my life, right? Where I was on the way
Shot.
to
Yeah.
a yoga retreat in my kitchen, a home invasion robbery, and shot 3 times, fought for my life, and had the experience
Jesus.
you're talking about where personally I thought I was going to pass and then didn't. And there was a feeling of intense gratitude, obviously, just honey sweet knowing I had my life still. And then I had the feeling, Terry, that you said, where, oh my God, this is a freaking gift and live every day. But then human living is complicated. And so I started to realize I had a push-pull going in me that I think we all do. Okay, I can do whatever I want because life is so short. Wait, but life is so short. So what is the most important thing to do? Wait, but I should just be living freely, right? Do you feel that pull?
Yep.
And I wanted to ask, Amy, I wanted to ask you something because I was thinking when you said, I have a friend who died flying a plane, right? And then you said a fighter plane. And I was angry.
Mm.
I had a picture, can you be angry at a friend who's doing something who dies? Like, did
Mm.
you died flying a fighter plane of all choices? What was that
Mm.
like for you to lose a friend in an action like that? Were you like, he's doing the thing he loves, yay, or damn, couldn't you be
Mm.
Yeah, I think
riding bike?
anger is definitely one part of it, which is what a loss for all of us. And I also know that he left this world the way he wanted
Mm.
to because we would joke about death before. I was like, like if you're old and alone, like I am going to help take care of you. He's like, no, that's never going to happen. I'm going to go out with a blast.
Mm.
And I think what's really interesting, I was talking to John about this, is like I lost my father about a year and a half ago. And it was a different grief because I didn't have all these beautiful memories with him. I didn't have a very smooth relationship with him. So that grief was like a little bit of relief because I was caretaking. And it was like, oh, I should have done this better to make him more comfortable. This grief is so different because this was someone where all of our memories were core memories. They were traveling, they were these dinner parties. Vanessa and John, you
Yeah.
were at one of them,
Yes.
and I knew he was gonna be in my life for till I was old, and so when I look back, all I have are core memories, and it really has taught me all these times we lose, we learn something hopefully, and I've been like, "Oh, wow, all the times that I haven't done something that could have created a bond or a core memory because of logistics. I'm too busy. I'll do it later." I'm like, "No, I'm doing it. Trip? Okay, I'll go. It's inconvenient. I gotta spend this. I'll do it." And, yeah, so it's a gift in a way of how he used to live, and I'm like, this is legacy, taking someone's values and then continue to live
Mm.
those values, and that's how they live on.
Mm. Beautiful.
Guys,
So beautiful.
Daniel handedly just turned this into a process group. Daniel, this is a podcast. We'll go deep. We'll go deep, but
He
hey,
can't
by
help
the way,
himself.
Daniel, you look like you look like Michael McDonald when I see you with the beard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I
watch
Hey,
out.
Mm.
I'm
listen.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know
Watch
if
out,
there's a higher
Danae.
compliment.
Wait, so I got
Is Michael Donald
Dan
here, really?
So far, I have 2 comparisons. Okay, so
Well, I
I
was gonna say Kenny Rogers, but I said Michael
oh
McDonald's,
my
which is
gosh,
a compliment. Sorry, yeah, so much better. Yes.
Yes.
but
Okay.
I'm smarter than all those people, right? Yeah.
Yes, you're wiser. You are wiser. Um, guys, thank you for the runway. It was so authentic, and we got to get to questions. But I want to say one thing. Uh, you guys are all beautiful souls, and as I get older, because I'm now 52, um, I'm gonna start saying things that people don't usually say, um, or people say in the hospital room, or people say when it's someone's birthday or they miss someone. But why not on a random what day is it? Saturday? On a random Saturday at 2:30, because we're all here, we're all connected, and like Dene says, nothing is promised. I just want you guys to know you're doing great work, and you guys are all such beautiful souls. Like I really mean that in your own way. That's why I invited you guys.
Thank you, Brenna.
Question one: how do you tell the difference between growth that feels uncomfortable but necessary versus staying in something that's actually unhealthy for you?
Ooh, how do we decide who gets to answer that?
We're just gonna rift. So go ahead, front row.
There's no such thing as growth that doesn't feel uncomfortable, number 1.
Okay.
And by the way, staying in something that is painful is not necessarily growth. That might be just being in a pattern of avoidance and pain, like standing on the nail. Well, step off the nail. No, why don't I? Because there's something scary and uncomfortable I have to do. Okay, that's my take on that.
I think a good way for me to understand that when I'm in a situation like that is to ask myself, what are my values and what is the vision of the life I'm trying to create? And then ask, oh, am I staying in this thing? And by doing so, am I actually breaching my values? Um, or do I have to go through this uncomfortable thing and that will keep me more aligned with my values and the type of person I want to be?
Yeah,
Love
I
that.
think those are really good questions because I agree with what Daniel's saying, right? Any kind of growth, there's some kind of discomfort because what is the most motivating human experience? Pain. I mean, that's just what it is. This is when we change. But I like that.
Can I add one thing too? I think what I've come to realize about myself, and then I've realized this about many clients as well, not all, but a lot of us, for whatever, our dispositions, our trauma, our attachment, whatever reason it is, we learn what we want or who we are by learning what we don't want and what we don't like. So we back our way into our knowing, right? And so sometimes being in a hard relationship, at least for me, I know that much of what I know about myself, I've learned by going, "Oh, I don't like that. That's not for me. Oh, I don't like that. That's a boundary I have to now have," right? And so there's purpose behind it, but I think then to kind of jump on what Amy's saying, it's like, are you starting to lose your integrity, or are you starting to lose, these are my values? I think that's when you can start to the flavor turns or changes.
Yeah, I kind of want to co-sign what Daniel said in that the growth is going to be uncomfortable, and I think we're all so afraid of getting it wrong, and I think so often what I'm attempting to support others and myself in really understanding is like we can't get this life wrong, and life will support us when we're ready to move on to the next thing. And I think V often talks about like the feather brick Mack truck, like life will come and get us where we need to go when it is time. So it's like if we're in resistance, a lot of times I'm like, "Okay, it's right. You're not ready to be done with whatever this is yet, and that's
Mhm.
okay, and I don't need to be flogging myself about where I feel like I need to be that I'm not yet. We'll get there when we're ready to get there, you know?"
Yeah.
Thank you. How to heal from trauma bonds. This is a very popular topic. This person wrote, "Still in supply slash discard cycle with narc in my life."
Mm.
It's so funny. Someone I put up the post on my stories too, and I got, like, 3 comments about, like, "How do you heal from a narcissist?" I'm like, "We really wanna
Uh-huh.
talk about narcissists We really want
Society
to.
right now.
We really wanna have that conversation, but okay.
We do. Let's start swinging. Let's chop the tree down. Go.
Vote.
It's not an I can just start by saying It's not enough to just want to, right? Because
Mm.
this is one of the hardest things that I help clients do. It really is. There is something so magnetic. I did a vlog like years ago about why narcissists and codependents can't break up. Like it's just a match made in heaven until
Mm.
all hell breaks loose, and it will. But it's just a
Mhm.
matter of time. And when you think about why the fit is so seamless, is you have the one person who's like, "Hey, man, it's all about me." Then you have the other person who's like, "Hey, yay, it's all about you. Can't wait to please you and do all the things that make you happy." So there's the codependent and here's the narcissist. So part of it is you have to start by never um, never talking about what you're gonna do, like, keeping all of your cards very close to your chest, especially
Mm.
because with narcissistic relationships, there's some kind of abuse, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, something is happening there, but you have to make a step-by-step plan, and you have to be ready to do it, and I think that this is the getting ready to really ready to do it. It can take that cycle can take so long, but once you are, it's like, have the safe people who know that you're planning to end the relationship.
Mhm.
Figure out what is your exit strategy. I've got a whole thing on my website about how to how to safely leave this type of relationship. But I think it really requires planning and support. You need safe people to help you do it.
And the step before that is to be able to see and acknowledge the way the pattern is serving you. Why do I stay in this? It's the same question you asked the first time. Like, why do I stay in something that doesn't serve me, as compared to know that there's a conscious step I need to take that's going to be incredibly uncomfortable, which means
Yep.
dropping my patterns of codependence, whatever they might be, and standing in that incredible loss and terror of now it's just me finding my way in myself. So I love the way you set it up, like how to leave an abusive relationship. Yes. And then first there's this feeling, how is this serving me? There's over and over again.
Yes.
What am I doing this?
Yes, I have people ask the secondary gain questions. Just it's just this few questions that people can ask, which is exactly that. What do I get to not face, not feel, or not experience by staying in this situation that I say I don't want, that I say is killing me, that I say is terrible? And it is the unobvious gain of staying. So sometimes it's, I don't have to face being alone, as you're saying, Daniel, right? Or I don't have to face going back in the dating world, right? What is it? What is this bullshit? Spare me. What bullshit does this bullshit spare me from? And when we can identify that, it makes it easier to make the move, at least to be honest about it.
Yeah, you know what you're stepping into then. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think there's also something about the whole hot and cold dynamic that happens with these relationships that are doing something on a biological level.
Yes.
And I have so many clients who are like, "Oh my gosh, I must be crazy because I know logically this person isn't good for me. But everything in my body, once we are apart for a day or two or broken up, is I need to text, I need to do this, I need to look at their Instagram story."
Mm,
And I think understanding that cycle of withdrawal and what's happening with the
yeah.
brain and dopamine circuits, like,
Yes.
you have this person you're bonded to, you're used to getting your chemical cocktail from them. You take that away, your body is giving you all of these signals of, like, go get it. It's motivating you to go and get it. And so when we aren't aware of this, we take it as a cue to go like, "Okay, I better go show up at their door or check their Instagram," and then we're
Yeah.
back into that cycle. But having the understanding that the only way to stop that cycle is to, once you hit that discomfort stage,
Yes.
instead of using that as a cue to do the unhealthy thing, which reinforces that, have a list of ways to get your healthy sources of dopamine, which is what Terry is saying, right? Your support group, call your friend, go for a walk, exercise. And as you keep doing that, that cycle and behavior will reinforce versus the other one.
Yeah, I love so much that you're speaking to this, Amy. I just finished
Yep.
Elizabeth Gilbert's book, All the Way to the River, and I was like, I
Ooh,
am
good.
so excited that someone is talking about these relational dynamics in the context of addiction, because there is so much that I have seen
Yes.
over the years from when I used to work in addiction recovery that is so similar to our relationship cycles. And I don't think it is easy a lot of times to break out of the cycle because everything about our societal structures tells us that we need to constantly be in a partnership, and if we're not, there's something broken or wrong with us, and so that fear is huge, but then also, this is me being a kind person, this is me pouring into someone, all of the things when I'm sort of the overfunctioner that we are rewarded for a lot of times, but we're not really looking at like, yeah, but what is the fantasy I'm holding on to? And what is sort of the imaginal space? Very similar to when we're in cycles of addiction, that we're really struggling to get out of that pattern with this person until, as Daniel said, we sort of name the thing for what it is, right?
Terry, you just wrote a book about this. Are you the codependent or the narcissist in your
The
story?
codependent. In recovery, obviously. The book's called Too Much, and it's about high functioning codependency, though, which is different, right? Because it's actually codependency for modern times, like what we're actually doing, which is, over functioning our asses off. Most of us that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I also just quickly add too that I always talk about when, like you said, Terry, people come to me all the time, and there's such a sticky relationship between the narcissist, right, and the codependent. I always say too that we have to understand that we're really just mirror images of each other, because we
Mm.
beat up so often in our society. It's like, oh, the narcissist, oh, they're horrible, they're this, they're that. And number one, I really like to remind people to humanize,
Mhm.
right? And remember that narcissism is not something you're born with. It's developed from trauma, and it is based in a well of absolute self-loathing. And so, what I remind people a lot of times is whether you're codependent or whether you're the narcissist, you both have an other-oriented personality structure, which means I find my sense of self outside of myself. Both parties are doing the same thing, right? And so if you're the one on the codependent side and you're like, "Oh, I need to heal, I need to move on," it's like, "Okay, great, turn inward." Because it's not about focusing on the narcissist and why they're bad and why they're toxic and why they're an asshole. Like, good luck. That's not gonna actually heal you, and that's
Totally.
not gonna actually change the pattern, right? You've gotta go inward and start to, one of you guys said it, like, question, why are you in this dynamic? What is it serving you? I think, Daniel, you said that. Because until we start to create that solid, healthy sense of self, you might leave this relationship, but you'll probably just get into another one with a very similar personality structure.
Dene, I was listening to All the Way to the River, All the Way Down the River, wherever Elizabeth Gilbert spoke on the plane. And
Mhm.
I'm definitely a recovering love and sex addict.
Mm.
The stuff that she was talking about, I was like, "Oh, that's me, that's me, that's me." I might not have gone as, as far as her, but maybe kind of like straddling the edge. But yeah.
I think many of us are.
Maybe we all do
Mhm.
that a little.
Yeah, and I love that even she names this in the book, but I've often said, like, I think we're all addicts to
We're all
varying
Yeah.
degrees, and I think that codependency is often the most socially acceptable drug of choice in our society, and I love that we're normalizing the conversation around, like, yes, this is a lot of how we are socialized to be in relationship with one another, and it doesn't really give us an opportunity to titrate into how do I stay in my skin and all of those things that we learn to do in addiction
Mm.
recovery, right?
Yeah. And I love this because I'm not used to talking with so many interesting, intelligent people at one time. Um, I
You
want
need
to say,
Daniel, you need some new friends, man. Come on,
yeah,
you're a big
but,
star, dude.
no, I meant in a podcast. Usually it's quite dull.
Yeah,
Sorry, sorry.
good point.
I mean, a couple of things came up that I just want to land on, if you don't mind, because I think you're hinting at this. Most of you, Vanessa, you just said this. I mean, codependent. I love that you are recovering, Terry. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Me too. Um, for me, the way I define codependence is I am making myself okay by making sure this person is XYZ. And so really it's a question of I don't have a self yet. And I have to turn away from like, okay, I'm not even aware that I'm regulating myself by changing this person, taking care of this person. So that's one, I think, Vanessa, you were leaning on that. How do I get back to knowing this is about discovering who I am no matter what? And when you say narcissist, I think it's important to say, there is such a thing as a personality disorder where there is a narcissist who is so early and deeply wounded that they cannot consciously examine themselves. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who have narcissistic wounds, right? And that's a very different, I just want to throw that into the vernacular as we're talking. A narcissistic wound is, we did not get what we needed in some fundamental way, right? And I think that's important to throw in there. So I love the idea of what you're playing with and addiction. Yeah.
Mm.
The way I think about addiction, what can I not tolerate that I'm going to do something else so I don't have to be here?
Hey, here's a good question. what's the purpose of a partnership if we're striving to be so independent and secure? And
Oh,
I think this is interesting because these days, I think a lot of people are putting less weight on relationships and finding, you know,
Romantic relationship.
romantic relationships. And so this person is saying, like, why do all this work and get involved in a partnership when you could, do it yourself and try to find a secure attachment within. What do you guys think?
So I've been with my husband almost 30 years. And I think that for every person, it's different. You don't have to be a partner now. The world has changed. You can
mhm.
be polyamorous. You can be none of the things. You can choose to be happily single forever and ever. But the independent, because I'll speak to the part of the question where they say, why partner if we're going to be so independent? So inherent in the question is someone thinking that partnership should not be with the independence. And I can say, I think the best partnerships that I see and that I've experienced in my life are the ones where there's a lot of independence because we still have things to bring. My husband remains the most interesting person I've ever met all these decades later. He goes to war zones to draw things like he's got a big career, and so do I. And I said before him, because I never wanted to get married, I was like, I need someone who's going to be a good sharer of me, because I love a lot of people. I can't have some weird, insecure, possessive thing that doesn't work.
Right.
So, how the independence works is interdependence,
Yeah.
right? Right. Vanessa, you count on John. John, you count on Vanessa. It's like you, my husband and I have the things that we do, we bring to the union. So, I think that that person or in that question, it's like, why the vilification of independence?
Mm,
Mhm.
mm.
That's my question with how I heard it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Terry, you're so good. You almost stole my answer. I was going to cut you off because I was headed that way, but I'm going to veer it right and have a different answer. But Amy, go ahead.
Oh, I was just like, what she said. But, like, I mean, why partner? I think, like, I think updating our ideas of what partnership is could be helpful because I know for the first 3 decades of my life, partnership meant, like, I merge. And, like, I centered my entire life around
Mm,
my romantic
mhm,
relationship.
mhm,
So when that fell apart, I completely fell apart. I had no identity. And now I have a very different view on it, and I've I have a very loving, supportive partnership, but I've, in a sense, decentered my romantic relationship, meaning, like, he has so much of my love and support, and I also value my friendships with just as much importance,
Same.
and because of that approach, I really invest in my friendships. I will go take that solo trip with a friend, like, whereas before, I was that girl who disappeared. I had a boyfriend, and I was gone, and I'm like, "That's not my style," and you have to try on what works for you, and for me, this style of having these different flavors of love, the one from my partner and the ones from friends and community and giving back, it is, I am my best version of self, so it's working for me.
Yeah. I I love what both of you said so much, and I think we're living through a really interesting time in history where the reason for partnering is evolving and shifting right before our eyes, and it's not about economic survival or, distribution of land and all of these different reasons that were why we historically maybe were in these partnerships. But I think in terms of the person's question, I think partnership at its best, and I will say, expanding beyond the romantic framework, I think of my relationship with Vanessa, and what it becomes is another person to bear witness to the journey. I'm going to cry as I say this because it's like all of these moments that you have moved through, there's another person that is bearing witness. And it's like,
Mhm,
the mirroring of that person there experiencing it with you is what it is to be alive and what makes the richness of
mhm.
our human experience what it is. But I do think the survival need and the codependency and all of these ways that I think partnership has been stifling of our potential in the past. We're starting to understand that and putting some of that down, and I think questions like this maybe are a little bit in response to us reconfiguring and reorganizing
Mhm.
what it looks like, but I think it's an evolution, and it's a beautiful thing if we choose to see that it's what Amy said, it's about so much more than just romantic partnership, you know?
Hey, I love that. I truly love that. Can I vamp on that for a second?
Nope, 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 nope. Let me go. No, I'm just kidding. Go
So
ahead.
I can't stop thinking through a depth lens, but also this beautiful. I mean, I'm thinking here, about attachment.
Mhm.
No baby exists without a reflection. And the way you said that was so beautiful, right? I mean, babies died in Romania when they weren't seen or touched or held in care. And so this idea that when I'm seen by someone and known, that's a profound relationship, whether it's the intimate primary relationship or friendship. But I want to put it this way too, in depth work, there is no consciousness without a relationship to something,
Mhm.
period.
Mhm.
Now, the core relationship is the deep self. But suppose we're doing our work and then our deep self is here and all the projections outward. What's better than two conscious people who are doing their work, a third body where real consciousness can happen, where I'm holding the depth perspective of why I'm in relationship, but also I'm working out my attachment wounds in a conscious relationship with a person who's witnessing and can hold those wounds. That's the way I'm seeing these two silos work together. What a great question. They are not separate. Individuation and relationship are the same thing. It just depends on how many people are in the dynamic, right? Yeah.
I've been in so many relationships in my life. I've rarely been single, always, trying to find love and build relationships. But I gotta say, um, this is the only relationship that has been a partnership. Vanessa
Mm.
and I swing toward being anxiously attached, and I would constantly lose myself in whoever I choose to love, and I thought that was romantic. That was my definition of love is, you go down, I'll go down with you, and vice versa. It's about self-sacrifice. Now I believe if you go down, I'll give you my hand, not my life. And that was actually developed through partnership. And so my answer is I think it's I think by loving someone, uh, especially if that relationship is, healthy and people are, looking inward and growing, um, that's how you become securely attached. I mean, of course, there are other ways. You don't need someone, a romantic partner to do that, but at least for me, uh, that's been the most effective way is the daily loving someone and, trying to be more securely attached through all the reps you put in, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, you could do it through friendships too, of course, but, usually you're like, we live together, so we're next to each other constantly.
Right.
Yeah. We have 3
You
little
are like you are in frame now. Yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Internet in Costa Rica,
she said her Wi-Fi was bad, wink, but I think she felt very close to me, and so
Oh
she's like
yeah, right.
I said, "Look, give your own box,
Is
man,
that
like,
what you
come
felt,
on."
John?
It's
Yeah,
funny because we were talking about codependency.
of course it is.
Hey, listen, I made Vanessa's dream come true because 'cause we're in Costa Rica, and instead of renting one house, we have 3 little villas. She has her own house, I have my own
Oh,
house, and,
smart. Very
I'm
avoidant.
dying, but she's loving the life. This is what
I'm dying. She's killing me.
but no, but see, this is how I'm becoming more securely attached. I'm becoming more securely attached. Yeah. Okay, next question. Thank you guys. Wow, such great answers. Hey, if this isn't a midlife crisis, what is? Feeling all the symptoms, stuck, lost, and hopeless. I gotta say, isn't that just kind of the temperature of the world these days? I mean, who isn't feeling lost, hopeless, and stuck
Maybe
globally?
we're all going through a sort of crisis
A
right now.
midlife, yeah.
Can I say really quick that I love the idea of I think the idea of a midlife crisis is so potent, and I wanna pull back a little bit and say we've got a few points in our life that historically are moments of crisis, right? So whether we're talking about, like, your Saturn return, which is usually, like, 27 to 31, what Jung called he's the one that actually, came up with this idea of the midlife crisis, which back when he was alive, it was a lot younger because you didn't live as long, but,
Right.
40, 50. But what I love so much about the midlife crisis is always to reframe it as it's not necessarily a crisis. It's actually a point of awakening, right? And going back to the very first question we had, which is no growth comes without discomfort, there will be inherent discomfort, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, right? Because Jung would talk about how the first half of your life being more of like the solar energy, the masculine, out towards the world, creating who am I seen as and what's my career? And it was very outward. And then this second half of life becomes more feminine, more lunar. We get to go inward and really like discover who we are and come back to ourselves. And so there's something so beautiful about that, that I think as a culture we've like made it a bad thing, and
Mm,
it's not, right? So um I think in general, whether we're talking midlife or we're talking about any point of discomfort, I hope that we start to change the way we look at it to it's exciting. It's there's inherent there's a pregnancy in it, right?
right.
Like a pregnancy of the soul, and something will be birthed on the other side of it.
Mhm.
But there has to be death before we can have that birth.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Wayne Dyer talked about similarly to Jung and maybe inspired by, but, the morning of our lives is all about acquisition, like just building, getting in the house and the person and the kids and the stuff. And then how the afternoon into the evening of our lives is about meaning. And
Mm,
and when people have a crisis, it's almost like you go from acquiring to a degree that the messy middle people love to talk about. I call it the in between, right?
mhm.
Because you're this person who's having this experience, something is shifting for them. But again, I agree with you, Vanessa. I feel like we're moving into, if we live long enough, if we keep living, we have the opportunity to create more meaning, whether it means more art, whether it means writing more books, whether it means helping more people, bigger positive ripple effect in the world, whatever it means to you, person who wrote that in, is you could see this as, with anticipatory excitement, if you can, as opposed to dread and fear.
That's right.
It's not fair to people in their 20s, I think, and 30s because, I find that it's easier to be in your solid self in the afternoon of your life. I mean, in my 20s, all this shit would be nonsense, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I would just be trying to build an empire and, buy fancy cars and get laid. So, now at 52, I can definitely enjoy time with my daughter or connection with Vanessa, and that's meaningful and matters. In my 30s and 20s, I wouldn't even have that
That's why so
ability.
many of us say we don't wanna go back to our 20s. Like, that's why so many of us, once we cross over 40
Right.
into right, we're always like, "Oh, no. No, 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 I will never go back. Like, this is so much better," right? But
Yeah.
when you're on the other side of it, you can't see that perspective yet. It's hard to see it, you know?
But it's interesting to be alive right now, and I'm kinda curious to hear Daniel's thoughts on this actually, because I think collectively we are going through what I see as sort of a collective individuation process, and that there are all of these aspects where the veil has thinned on all of these aspects of society that I think we weren't really attuned to, or that we didn't really have collective processes of initiation, and, like, here is how we are being ushered into the next phase of development. But if you look at the younger generation right now, it's like they're individuating earlier to me, like, they are questioning deeper things and longing for more
Oh,
meaning, I
yeah.
think, than we did when we were in their age group,
Yeah.
and I know, Terry, you have some people in your life who are young adults that you're close to, and I think it's interesting to see that it's not the same, like, I think there's a way that life is sort of asking us to return to this space of meaning as a society, but I don't know, I think it's different a little bit for this younger generation.
I agree with you, Janae. Not only the younger generation, I think this bit about the veils, right? We are being forced to see how the systems don't work the way we were at first believing that they were, and how powerful, because many of the systems, including our internal, adaptations and defensive systems, are not working. They're just holding a false idea. So this idea of individuation is becoming authentically myself, which means burn through the things that we're holding that may have been limiting. I want to say to the person with the question, I mean, what timid children would say, oh, how delightful. This is coming up. That means a moment to look at this and change something. And in depth perspective, all the symptoms are a wake up. Like, what is not aligned? Like, sit down, take a breath. Something's not aligned. If you feel like your life is empty and meaningless and you're stuck, yes, good. What do we do? What would I,
Mm.
way would I turn the ship to get closer to my North Star? And I agree with all of you that we are in a collective cultural experience of really questioning what does matter right now. What about capitalism? What about democracy? How it works? Is it working? Can we really be there for one another? Is it possible to sit in a big ship and say, there's a hole on your side of the boat. We're sinking over there? No, not really. That brings me back to this whole concept that Thich Nhat Hanh is like, just teach interrelatedness, period. So I went on a tangent, but to the person who wrote the question, there's a call there to take a closer look. Something's not right, you know?
Thank you. Anyone else before we end with the final exercise?
I'm just gonna add
Yes.
something. So I do like the reframing. It's not a crisis. However, I think that a midlife crisis that happens often, like there's many things that cause it, right? It's like a wake up call. So hormonally, we're changing, which is why it's happening midlife. Or you experience a close friend dying, and then you have questions about mortality. And it is not a crisis if you take responsibility and you do what Daniel says, which is okay, let's take a pause. What is not aligned? Have I been living not in integrity with my values? And how can I make some changes so that I can redirect my life? And then there are people who don't take responsibility. And I work with a lot of the people who have to experience the aftermath of their crisis because they decided when this wake up call happened to have an affair with their secretary. So I just think that we, as much as we want to be compassionate about the human experience, is we also need to have a level of responsibility and accountability when these nudges are happening to us to not do things that destroy the lives of other people.
Amen.
What I say, feather, brick, or truck, like your choice, right? The universe is going to tickle you with a delicate little feather, and you can listen then. And if you don't, you'll get hit with a brick. And if you don't listen to the brick, you'll get hit by a Mack truck. And when your marriage implodes and you end up at one of mine and Dene's retreats because you didn't listen to the brick, and now you're in a crisis of like, I've been hit by a Mack truck. This is so often, Amy, when people find us, right? Is because they didn't take responsibility, or they're looking back and they're going, how do I take responsibility now? What does that look like, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. It's responsibility, I think, is the first step to any of the integration. Has to be. Yeah.
I want to be respectful to all your guys' time. So we're approaching an hour, and I know it flew by. I could do this all day, to be honest with you. I don't want to be Joe Rogan. We could go 3 hours. I would want it.
Please
Rogan it.
don't.
That's fucked up.
She means please don't be Joe Rogan. She doesn't mean don't go longer. She means please don't be Joe Rogan.
Correct. I can stay. Just don't become Joe Rogan.
The last piece is as far as questions, we're gonna ask each other a question. So it doesn't have to be, deep. It can be, but also not your favorite color, right? So think of a question, and then when I call you, like Daniel, maybe you could go first. Pick anyone in the room, and then you could ask that person your question.
John always does this. He puts me on the spot. I'm not good at this.
Terri, hi.
Sorry,
when,
but
when you feel your hardwired tendency toward codependence coming in, as you said, you're recovering. How do you hold that? What do you say to yourself? What do you do with that? Where do you place that in your psyche?
I feel the feeling of wanting to take the action or give the auto advice or get out I was going to say checkbook, even though no one uses checks, but you know what I mean? Like fix whatever the problem is.
well, Vanessa
But
said Mack truck, and no one knows what the fuck a Mack truck is unless you're born in the 80s. Or okay,
yes, they do. They don't know what checkbooks are, John. Anyway, I feel the feeling, but I take a pause. And in my mind, I have different mantras that I'll say. And this was long before Cassie Phillips wrote a poem called Let Them. Long before the Let Them phenomenon that happened. In my mind, I would say, let them, right? But it's what they're doing is their side of the street. And what I'm doing is my side of the street. And I learned to ask expansive questions instead of giving auto advice. So if someone would come in and have a problem, instead of saying, I think you should do this, I would always just start with, okay, what do you think you should do? Let's go.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Sure.
thank you for hey Terry, thank you for crediting Cassie with that poem.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's who I first saw it from myself, was
Yeah.
from there. And I know there's a
Yeah.
book about it now, but that's the one
Yeah.
I know about is the Cassie Phillips one.
The book has sold 6 million copies in the last 3 months.
Wow.
But yeah. Anyway, okay.
What is that?
Now Terry, it's your chance to ask a question. And I'm gonna buy you some time because Vanessa said, "Oh, John, don't put me on the spot by doing this exercise." And I'm gonna put her on the spot. I wanted to say to you, I want to really put her on the spot. because we're talking about love and relationships. Um, one of the things that I've learned about love with you is the corrective love experience. Is something corrective, and corrective doesn't mean easy. Um, and I gotta say that I feel like with everyone I've been with, I didn't know what truly falling in love felt like until we started building something. So, look at your eyes just rambling. Look at you're so happy. I'm trying to say that I continue to fall in love with you every day, but not based on the poster, but based on um work and what's difficult and finding beauty in the contrast and all of that. So yeah.
Mm.
All right. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
I love it. Am I asking someone a question now?
Yes, yes. Pick any person.
All right, so I'm going to ask Amy, what do you do to stay balanced in a very like hard world experience that we're all having right now? And you just lost your friend. Like, how do you fill up your own bucket?
Mm.
Drugs.
Mm, I mean, besides drugs, obviously we all do that. But good.
When a lot of things are happening, like loss, the world, like the economy, it's really easy for me to slip into like a scarcity mindset, and that makes me want to do that, and it makes me also want to hoard. So I have to actually fight that reaction, and I will do the opposite. So I will get in the momentum of giving away the very thing that I feel like I'm lacking. So I'll
Mm,
start with even like writing reviews, like book reviews. Like y'all are gonna get book review if you haven't already. Like restaurant reviews, like, it
mm,
just gets me in the action of giving, and then,
mm,
like, hosting people, having them for dinner,
okay.
treating them, and when I do that, I actually find that that feeling of scarcity and doing that, like, kinda closing in, it just stops, not because I'm thinking of it to go away, but it just automatically releases, and it's just something I go to constantly, and it works for me.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy, pick a person and ask a person a question.
Okay, Vanessa, this is for you. So you two have a similar dynamic as in my relationship with my partner Paul. So Paul veers, earned secure, but more he needs a lot of space. We have different love languages, and I'm more like John. I'm like the doting romantic. I could be
Yeah.
with my partner 27 hours a day.
Wait, does
So
Paul need his own house?
I mean, he would love it. Love,
Okay, he would love his own house. Okay.
right? But I would constantly be knocking on hello.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm just curious, like, how do you what's been something that's been really helpful for you when John has mentioned that he veers a bit more anxious, he might want more affection or time or connection. How do you handle that?
Lots and lots of conversations, um, because it has been a continual circling around for me. What is my line of being able to give him what he might need without it then turning into me self-abandoning? Because as the person who is a little bit more needs more space and needs more autonomy, in order to be in relationship, I've always been taught I have to self-abandon to do that.
Yeah.
And so as I've gotten older and as I've had a daughter and I'm so committed to not doing that, it's had to be a lot of conversations with John where I've come to him essentially, whether verbally or non-verbally, and said, I'm able to do that. And here's how much and in what way, or I'm not. And if I'm not, like, what I'll give you an example. When we moved from LA to Costa Rica, my book was just ramping up to release, right? And so we had a conversation before we moved where I said, listen, we're going to be in very different places when we land, right? You're on the downswing. So your book just came out. Aw, thanks, Terry. Your book had already come out, right? You've gone through the PR, and I'm going to be on the upswing. I said, so I'm not going to have a lot of capacity or a lot of space for the relational stuff. And so I need you to basically handle it. Like, I can't, you can't be needing me so much when I'm going to be too busy, and I just need you to be in support of that, right?
And I don't think I would have ever in any other relationship been able to voice something so clearly and so confidently before this relationship. But because we've done so much work around him, even if his feelings might have been a little hurt in that, for him to hear it and take it in and be like, okay, that's fair. And if my feelings are hurt, I'm going to go process that with like a coach or a therapist, right? Instead of
Wow.
processing it with you.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's necessarily like a black and white answer for you, other than just the continual dialogue around this is what I'm capable of. This is why. How do you feel about that? And just having that go back and forth.
Wow. I
Beautiful.
love that. Thanks.
You know, recently I went to LA just for real quick, like 3 or 4 days, and I was thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm gonna be gone," and I felt so bad, and you know what? If you want, I'll come back faster. I didn't know that in her brain, she's playing risky business. She's sliding across the living room with socks on her floor and just being like, "Fuck, I'm so happy I'm gonna be able to watch my shows, do my shit," like, but,
But we talk
we
about
talk
it.
about it. Yeah, we
You
talk.
know, he called me and he's like, "Do you miss me?" And I laughed and I was like, "Do you want me to answer that honestly?"
She said, "Who is this?" First of all. I said, "You're Russ. Do you not have my phone number?"
I
And then
just
what.
said, like, "Of course I do." And I really enjoy my alone time, and it makes me miss you more
Yes.
when you go away sometimes. We don't get the opportunity to miss people
Mhm.
when we're together all the time,
Yep.
and then I don't get to recharge my battery ever because I don't get any alone time. I also have a young kid, right? Who the hell has time for alone time? So, you know, there's an honesty here that I think we've also earned by putting in the reps, to be honest,
Yep.
you know?
Love.
If we didn't communicate, it wouldn't have lasted this long, and,
Oh, yeah.
this is my longest relationship, and I believe it's yours too, 7 years, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Vanessa.
What a
Daniel.
great question. I mean, I love what you said earlier about kind of the smart love bomb. Like you only know how you're going toward the thing by adjusting over and over. There's no way to say this, go this way. I can't go this way. I can't go this way. You keep bouncing off that which doesn't feel right. I think I always come back to I get caught in shame, and the way out of shame is play. And so the more I can be in a playful, curious experience, whether that's in my music or in my yoga teaching or in group settings where I'm doing the work, etc., coming back to, I mean, it sounds corny, but I'm in most joy when I'm with that little part of myself that is authentic and innocent and vulnerable and
Mm.
not being controlled by this, critical shame defensive system we all run a little bit of a racket on. That it's okay to just be free and play. So I think that's what I teach, how to get back to this authentic voice. I mean, here's the question. Joy comes from what you said earlier, Dene, like, I can be seen fully by this person. I'm known, I'm loved, and that creates a kind of joyful connection. How do we learn it's not safe to be authentic?
Mm.
That's where I keep coming back to. So I just work internally. No, that's scary, but this is yes, I want to say this. Yes, this is the poem I want to read. This is how I want to tell this person I love them. This is how I want to sing right now. Something like that. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Mhm. Love it.
Reorientate.
Okay, Danae, pick a person, ask a question.
Well, it's gotta be
It's
you,
you.
John.
John.
Gotta be
Good.
you.
Yes,
You
you.
too.
Okay,
That's good.
John.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
ask John a question.
Okay.
John,
Yes.
what is making you really proud of yourself? And where do you see growth and expansion that, like, 5 years ago, you would feel blown away by the way you're showing up now?
I struggle with the whole being proud of myself, which is tied to,
Yeah.
of course, I've made a career of, what is it called?
Deprecation.
Self deprecation?
Mhm.
Defecation? I say defecation.
Deprecation.
That just means I've been shitting my pants a lot.
No.
Deprecation. English is my second language, if you don't know. Uh, so where am I proud of myself? You know what? I think I've been pretty consistent as far as being fearlessly, me. And
Mm.
so, like, even the idea of doing this and doing it in my way, I do the whole build the bus while you're driving it. And um, I used to think that was a curse. I used to think because I was a C student, dyslexic, ADD, that you're a half-ass. You're a half-ass. And it wasn't until my late 40s where I realized actually you're not a half-ass. Um, that's your gift. I think for most of us, what we think is our curse is actually our gift if we embrace it. And so, um, the consistency of just me being me. So whether that is tanning my taint on social media or putting around in a golf course, whatever it is, you know, unapologetically, that would be what I'm quote unquote proud of. What was the
Well,
second part of the question?
I think that was
Yeah, you got it.
the question. Yeah, but and if I
Yeah.
may, brother, I think you being yourself has been so permission giving, and I think it's your superpower. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
the way that you've embodied that.
Thank you. What a lovely question. And then we're gonna close with this last question. Yeah, I
You have
don't
to
know what
ask
to.
Dene.
I know, I know. I don't know what to ask her.
All the controlling women on the call.
Hey, right now, right now at this point in your life and where you're at,
Mm.
what do you think the world wants from you?
Oh, no.
Not us, not us. The world. What does the world want from you?
Mm.
And hold on. How do you know? How do you know? It's a two-part.
Okay, what I know the world wants from me right now, is to allow myself to be messy and unedited and just show up, and not really think about, like, how it's gonna land or, how it's gonna be received by other people, but just, show up and be of service and to the best of my ability, moment to moment, breath to breath, and the way that I know is the still small voice within me often
Mm.
reiterates
Mm.
that when I am, wanting to do those things. So, yeah, it's just to be more me and stop being, edity or whatever that means.
Mhm.
No,
I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. What a great place to end. Hey, besides Daniel, we're all swimming in the riptide of social media, and I vote that we all continue to hold hands spiritually as we do our thing. It's been such a joy watching everyone's stories peripherally. So I love seeing your guys' stuff and just um, also doing stuff like this, touching base and doing things that don't involve selling a product.
Mhm.
Speaking of selling a product, this is your time to sell something. Wait, Terry? Where can we find you? Where's your latest book? What are you working on? Sell something.
I I will sell something. I will sell 2 things. That I have a great community, and I love my community,
Mm.
and I go live every week in my community, and that's terricole.com/TCM for Terri Cole membership. That's what I sell. It's not expensive, but it is the most sacred and safe place for people to continuously grow.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for providing that space. And Terry, you're the real deal. You are the real deal. So yeah, I really connect with you. Danae, where can we find you? And what are you offering?
Sell something.
I don't want to take
Where
something.
where can I sell?
What are you offering?
You can find me on social media at Dene.Logan, and my book baby, Sovereign Love, is
Mhm.
still,
Yeah.
just a deep love of mine, and I have, I'm gonna be at Kripalu next week, and I'm going back to Blue Spirit, Carrie, a few
For
months.
for Alex
Um
Salomon? For Ali
no,
Salomon?
well, I'm
Oh,
gonna be teaching this year, so, yeah, if you wanna come hang with me in Costa Rica at Blue Spirit,
I
but yeah,
do.
you can find all of that stuff on my website, DeneLogan.com. Thank you, John, for
Yes,
this
and you're also
opportunity.
working on another book, so we
I
can't wait for
am
that
working
as
on
well.
another book. Yes,
Awesome.
thank you, my love.
Amy Chan.
You can find me on social at Miss Amy Chan, and this is my first book, Breakup Boot Camp: The Science of Rewiring Your Heart. And you can come to one of my boot camps, or, um, but my next book is actually coming out in April, and it's called Unsingle: How to Date Smarter and Create Lasting Love.
Mm.
And pre-sale has just gone up, so
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, go grab her book. That's a great book. Uh, Daniel.
Yeah, despite the not seeing me a lot on Insta, it's Minstrel Iron with one L on it. And come see me if you need help as a psychotherapist, but also come to my yoga class at Rising Lotus Yoga. But mostly, I have 2 retreats coming up this year. One is going to be a training. I won't say more about it. That'll be in Costa Rica. And then the end of the year, I don't mean this year, sorry, next year. End of the year, we're going to Bali for a big experience. And so
Nice.
pay attention for
Hey,
luck.
I don't want you to get any more clients, Daniel, because you got a book to write. So do not contact
So
Daniel.
forget no clients,
No more
anybody.
clients.
Don't reach out to
Yeah, do not reach out to Daniel.
Go find another therapist,
Yeah.
John says.
Vanessa has some exciting stuff. She has her own academy, coaching school.
I do,
Tell us
yeah.
about that.
So, like Terry mentioned, my book just came out, The Motherhood Myth. If you haven't gotten it yet, it's out wide. But I also have a depth psychology. You're so cute, Terry. A depth psychology coaching academy. We're on our second cohort now. Daniel and Dene are actually both, and John are actually all teachers in it. And so it's a 10-week program, and we're probably going to be launching a level 2 next year because there's a really high demand for the next level of it. But if you've ever been curious about depth and spiritual psychology, whether you're a clinician or a coach or just a layperson who wants to understand more about depth and spiritual psychology, then it's your place.
Yeah.
Come on down.
If you hit my link tree, it's a Korean bodega. I sell hubcaps, pagers. I sell all sorts of shit. So I'm not going to sell anything today. I just want to thank you guys all for being here. And hey, Daniel, you know what we all have in common? That besides you,
What's that?
what do we all have in common besides you? We all have a book.
Oh, that's right.
We
There's
all
the
have a
part
book,
about
man.
him poking me.
Yeah.
We're
It's
also all.
it's the
We're
ticket
also
into
all.
the party, and today you just got the invite for free. But next time you got to be working on a book.
He's
Thank
never
you,
going to
God.
stop.
I will be. I'll do that for you. We also have in common that we're all made of the same stardust.
Aw,
That's a
so
good point,
right.
Daniel.
Yes,
Yep.
let's end on that. Thank you.
Love it.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Be well.
fun.
Thank you guys. So fun.